The Boston Bruins are making the most of the little that's left of the regular season. Plus, we'll find out which team you think might give the Bruins the toughest time in the playoffs. Thanks for joining us on Bruins Daily TV here at Studio 73 at Suffolk University. Erica Lee alongside Tim Rosenthal after a short break we took last week.
I think all these students took a better break than we did because I see a lot of tans back from our studio managers here, and I'm just a pasty white person as normal.
Me too.
Must be because I'm part Irish, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure you did a lot of celebrating this past weekend. Now, we had a lot of excitement with the NHL's trade deadline right before our break. The Bruins made just a couple of moves, but they seem to have made a little bit of an impact here with a 10-game winning streak going.
Definitely. I mean, you can't complain about what they've done wrong in this instance. They've done almost everything right. They've been flawless, yet they haven't been perfect. And then over the past couple of games where Lucic and Claude and everyone in the locker room said they hope they don't peak too early, and as good as they've been right now, they can still even be better. That came from Zdeno Chara after the Phoenix game. And there's still some stuff they can work on, and even this 10-game winning streak. Defensively, they still have to tinker a little bit, fit some guys in like the Potters and the Mazzaros that they got in the trade deadline. And then Dougie, obviously, he's continuing to make strides. Johnny Boychuk day-to-day, hopefully he can get back into the lineup this weekend with his foot injury. And Matt Barkowski can also get some improvement. He struggled a little bit Monday night against the Wild. But overall, they've gotten some really solid contributions, and then the depth on this team, the scoring on this team from all four lines has just been amazing during this streak.
That's right. The Bees sent their game point streak to 12 games in Tuesday's win over the Devils, which equals their best such stretch since the 1975-1976 season. And on top of that, the Bruins haven't suffered a regulation loss since January 9th on the road when they played the LA Kings. The Black and Gold have now tallied 99 points on the season, trailing the league best St. Louis Blues by just 2.
And they also have the same goal differential as the Blues, plus 74. These two teams are really cut from the same cloth, too. Both rely on four lines to get scoring. Both have strong defensive games. Both have solid goaltending now that the Blues acquired Ryan Miller. These two teams are basically made for each other. Maybe that'll be the Stanley Cup matchup down the road. Both have some flaws. Both have some opponents where they don't do well against, like the Bruins against the Habs and the Blues and Blackhawks, who were playing each other Wednesday night in a big rivalry game. That remains to be seen if they face each other during the playoffs, but both have to be liking where they are right now.
That's true. Now, one guy we didn't talk about because we were talking about some of the flaws the Bruins are facing, Jarome Iginla is making a huge impact on this team. He's netted 6 goals in his last 4 games. He's got 26 goals on the season so far and 556 career goals, which ties him for 25th place in the NHL with Johnny Busick.
And Fuego. That's all I have to say. He's on fire. I think it's only appropriate when he came from Calgary that he brought his physical style in Boston, which it took a few months for him to sign over here after that trade deadline. But this is a perfect fit for him. He's leading the team in goals, obviously, only 4 points behind David Krejci for the team scoring lead at 56 points. Krejci has 60 points. But he's a perfect fit for him and Milan Lucic, and he's getting hot right at the right time. And I honestly can't wait to see what he has in store for the playoffs, because I think he's hungry for that cup. That's why he came here in the first place, and you're seeing that right now. You're seeing him play with such intensity, and he's even during his recent streak, he still wants to get better. That's the amazing thing.
I think a lot of these guys are hungry for that cup after last season's loss in the final. Talk about Patrice Bergeron as well. I know we were talking a little bit about him off air before.
Yeah, Patrice Bergeron, another guy who just got to the 20-goal mark. He's the 4th Bruin this year to have 20 or more goals, and I think that list is only going to get bigger as the season winds down here. He also has a plus 34, leads the league in plus minus. His face-off percentage, of course, is incredible. He has so many other stats that make him such a quality two-way forward, and it's why he's a Selke finalist again. And personally, as a member of the Professional Hockey Writers Association, I have him number 1 on that list right now.
Definitely one of the most valuable players in the NHL right now. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take some of your tweets on who the Bruins' biggest foes in the Eastern Conference could be. That's next on Bruins Daily TV. Welcome back to Bruins Daily TV. Erica Lee here alongside Tim Rosenthal at Studio 73. Now, this is beginning to become my favorite part of the show each week. We took your tweets and Facebook comments once again, and this week we asked you to tell us which of the Bruins Eastern Conference foes would give the black and gold the hardest time in the playoffs and why. And it was not easy to pick answers. We got so many great responses.
Yeah, so even though we had so many of the same answers, we got some different ones as well, and we tried to throw in as many as possible. So definitely thank you for all your replies. We definitely couldn't get to all of them, but at the same time, you made our lives a lot easier by having some choices here.
So first we'll head over to Twitter where Nick Godin at Flying Oar says, it's got to be Montreal. Even though the Bruins are showing improvement against the Canadiens, the Habs' speedy skaters take advantage of the Bruins' defense.
This was the most popular answer of the bunch. But Nick hits it spot on, and he's definitely a must follow on Twitter if you haven't followed him yet. Not just for the name itself, Flying Orr. I think he should have a Twitter image of Bobby Orr's statue outside the garden myself. So if you're listening, Nick, you know why. You definitely know why it will help your Twitter handle. But at the same time, he is an inspiring writer, I'm told, and it's definitely a lot of knowledge on the Bruins. And I think he hits the nail in the coffin right here. The Habs, they're small forwards, but they're definitely speedy, and they definitely give the Bruins a tough time. At the same time, during the course of the series, I think that plays to the Bruins' advantage, that they're a little more physical than the Habs, and they can beat them down over a course of a 7-game series as well.
For sure, and of course Nick is a must follow on Twitter. Now, at Bruins Believer agrees. He says that it's either the Habs or Detroit who give the Bees trouble. Small teams with speed always give the Bruins fits.
Well, Detroit's already beaten them twice, same as Montreal. The Bruins faced them both in the last 13 games of the season, and but what Detroit has that Montreal doesn't is an injury problem right now. They face so many injuries, Datsuk, Zetterberg, Jimmy Howard, so many injuries on the back end too, yet they're still within striking distance of the last wild card spot, and if they can get healthy at the right time, that's a team I don't want to face in the playoffs. More so than Montreal because they are more experienced, more skilled, and they're very fast. They might be a little bit of a finesse team, but they can be very physical as well, unlike Montreal where they're smaller and they need to use the speed to their advantage. So even though Montreal historically gives the Bruins a lot of trouble, Detroit is the team, I think, out of that bunch where I worry about the most if they can get things clicking.
For sure, and I think it says a lot about them, the way that they've overcome injuries this season to just barely be able to make the playoffs at this point. It's good luck for them.
Yes,
sure.
Mike Babcock is one heck of a coach. He led them to Team Canada to gold medal, already won a cup with Detroit, brought him to another final. When he has his team playing hot at the right time, they're a very good team.
Now, at Brian Bowman 14 says, don't be fooled by last season. Pittsburgh is a legitimate contender, and they are hungry for revenge.
They are this year, but it's going to depend on which version of Marc-Andre Fleury shows up. He's been pretty good during the regular season. Goals against average under 2.5, a pretty good save percentage. He has a good team in front of him, but he's been, at least for a time being, I think he's benefited from assistant coach Jacques Martin helping him out a little bit, former coach of the Habs and Senators. He's been around the block a little bit, mentored some goalies like Carey Price. You see how well that's playing out in Montreal as well. And then you have Sidney Crosby, who's as skilled as anyone, probably going to be the MVP. They are 42-5-4, I believe, when he scores at least 1 point. So those are, if that's not MVP numbers, I don't know what is. Malkin's picking up right where he left off, and then you have Neil and Kunitz, who provide some good secondary scoring as well.
Pittsburgh always seems to give the Bruins trouble whenever they meet in the playoffs. So after we left Twitter, we took to Facebook, where Mark Brooks tells us Tampa actually matches up pretty well with their good hits, tough hockey, and that netminder Ben Bishop is Tuukka's equal. What do you say to that?
Ben Bishop and Tuukka Rask are going to be Vezina finalists at the rate they're playing. I think Carey Price will also be right up there. This is Tuukka has a little bit more body of work than Ben Bishop, so come playoff time, it's definitely going to be interesting to see if he can live up to the hype that he succumbed during the regular season. They added Ryan Callahan at the deadline to add a little more grit. I think they become a little better. His team is Steven Stamkos is back, one of the stud players in the NHL. They're not an easy team. They're still young. I still think they're a couple years away from being one of the elite teams, but they're not a team you want to mess with, that's for sure.
All right. And Matt Files tells us he doesn't think any of the teams in the East could really give the Bees a tough time come the playoffs, but maybe Columbus and Philadelphia could surprise the Black and Gold since they're tough, hungry, and streaking. Columbus is somebody I've been watching all season.
Sergei Bobrovsky, he was a little sluggish in the early going, but I think he's done a great job during this second half of the season, put Columbus in the last wild card spot as of right now. Nathan Horton's back, and another former Bruins. Definitely be interesting to see him during the playoffs. And then Philadelphia, they're getting red hot all of a sudden. Claude Giroux, after struggling in the early season, is actually picking up his play a little bit and has entered the Hart Trophy discussion a little bit. So definitely that. They had the coaching change, and they've only become better as a result. And Steve Mason, he's an all right goalie. I have to admit that.
Well, last but not least, Tim Caverly says the only time the Bruins struggle is when they get in their own way.
There are times where they get in their own way. We've seen this against Buffalo and the Islanders a little bit. Anytime they've blown 2-goal leads, I think that's that comment is definitely spot on. But right now, the only team they can beat, seemingly during this streak, is themselves. And but they do have some tough games coming up against Colorado and Phoenix on the road. They also have the Flyers, the Caps, the Habs, the Blackhawks. They have some quality opponents coming up on their schedule right before playoff time. So they definitely don't want to beat themselves during that time. But looking at it right now, they're doing so well. There's so much going for them. As we mentioned, plus 74 goal differential, which is tied for St. Louis. 41-15, they've outscored their opponents during this 10-game streak. I think it's something like 91-48 in the last 23 games where they've gone 18-2-3. That includes their streak prior to the Olympic break. So they're playing the best hockey right now. They're probably number one on many power rankings, if not one, number two right behind St. Louis. And obviously they're going to be a team to beat if they continue this.
I think you're right. We'll have to see what's ahead for the Bruins. And that is going to do it for us today. For Tim Rosenthal and the crew here at Studio 73, I'm Erica Lee, and we'll catch you next time on Bruins Daily TV.
We belong together. We stand proud and true. Remember when I said that I'd always be there for you?